Welcome to a present from the past.
The show for all your paranormal needs. Hello and welcome back to another episode of A Presence from the Past. Unfortunately, Natasha is still out, and I know last week we didn't get an episode out to you guys. I do apologize about that. Natasha was out, and between work and actually being a little sick, I just didn't get a chance to get an episode out to you guys. Well, and continuing with our Texas legends, if you will, came across a story, and it kind of reminded me of a horror movie from the mid '80s. So, how many of y'all out there remember the story of Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street? Now, I'm not talking about the newer one. I have some feelings on that one that I think kind of disconnect it from the old one. But the basics of the story, when you think about it, is you're thinking of Freddy, the burned skin, the razor sharp knives on the gloves, and how he's able to haunt people in their dreams. But if you look back a little bit further into Freddy's history and how he came to be what he is, or what he was, depending on which depending on which movie you saw, depends on how he died or if he died or whatever. But if you remember the story, he was he worked in a boiler room, and he hated kids. So he would actually trick them to coming with him and killing them and doing whatever. And the families of these children hunted them down and burned them alive in the boiler room. Now, the aspect of the whole dream creature and being able to do things in your dreams and the razor sharp gloves, those all seemed, that's what made Freddy Freddy. But if you look at the history, the boiler room and hating children and that aspect of the story, I got one that's right up your alley. In this episode, we're going to visit Summit Elementary School from Amarillo, Texas. So the story of the Summit Elementary School is it was originally built back in the 30s. At first, it was just the Summit School, and then it wasn't until I believe the mid 50s that they turned it into the Summit Elementary School, and it stayed that way until 1972 when it was closed for good. And the story tied to the school is that there was a janitor that worked there that did not like children. And some of the story even goes to as far as to saying that he, lured children into the boiler room of the elementary school and dismembered them or killed them or whatever. And he supposedly hung himself in this boiler room. Now, there are other stories that I've heard about attached to the school that when it was built, they used or there was bodies of dead prostitutes that were cemented into the walls and stuff like that. But I've not been able to find any evidence that supports any of it. I haven't even been able to find any evidence of a janitor that killed himself there, or that children were abused there, or anything of that nature. However, after these stories came out and after the school was shut down, um, is when most of your haunting stories start about the school. One of the things that is said to happen is when you're approaching the school, there's a swing set out front. And it doesn't matter. I mean, if you don't know where Amarillo is in Texas, it's very flat land. It's up in the panhandle, it's very flat land. Um, and so it gets a lot of high winds and breezes and stuff like that. Well, the rumor is, or the story that goes with it, is that this swing will, you'll have one swing that just starts swinging on its own. Now, you could say that it was the wind. You could say that, obviously the wind is pushing the swing and that's why it's swinging back and forth. However, it would be the only one moving. The other swings would be sitting perfectly still. And the other part to it is, it didn't matter if it was a windy day, a breezy day, or absolutely no wind at all. This swing would still swing. Yeah, I've heard of other stories of playgrounds where there's swings that are moving on their own, and it's, you've seen videos, or I've seen videos of people recording these swings that are just swinging on their own, and you can see the other swings are either barely moving or sitting still, and yet there's this one swing that's just going like someone's sitting on it and swinging. So that story kind of intrigued me. I would like to. I'd like to witness something like that personally. Go up and walk up and see a piece of equipment moving on its own, and there's no breeze, or even if there is a breeze, being able to rule that out just because nothing else is moving and it's moving by itself. But you can continue on with the story. Other things that have been reported at the school is that people that have investigated the place have said that you can hear what sounds like a mop bucket being sloshed down the halls, which kind of ties it to the janitor, feeling the whole janitor vibe, taking care of the place. But they say it's not like a protective or a spirit that necessarily feels like it's taking care of the place, but it is suggested that this is a spirit that doesn't want people around the place, that doesn't particularly like kids, and it just gives you this feeling like you want to. Now, out of all the stories that I've been told or heard about the Summit Elementary School, these two probably stick out the most to me and make it to where I would like to look into these more and experience this for myself. The first one is, if at a certain time of night, if you bang on the front door, supposedly you would get a loud banging back or a booming voice saying, "Go away." Could be the janitor saying, "I don't want anybody in here. I just mop the floors. Go away. Leave me alone." Could be the janitor thinking it's some kids trying to get in. "I hate kids. Go away." That type of thing. Definitely something that I'd like to experience on my own, and be able to see it happen before my eyes. The other thing is supposedly happens in the boiler room. Now, there have been many reports that the boiler room stays dirty all the time. There's a layer of dust within there that no matter how often you wipe it, no matter how often you clean it, when you turn around, it's dirty again almost instantly. Now, the story I've heard that makes this one more intriguing is that they say if you were to walk into the boiler room and draw a stick figure in the dust that's on the equipment in the boiler room, that supposedly as you're drawing it or right after you draw it, it will fill up with dust and completely be gone again, like vanish before your eyes, like you were never there. Now that intrigued me. That would be something that I would definitely like to see and definitely like to experience on my own. But you can definitely see where, or I hope you can see where I make the parallel to, the Freddy Krueger story with the man that didn't like kids that ended up pretty much living in a boiler room, and the janitor that didn't like kids that worked out of a boiler room. I mean, it may be maybe a stretch of the imagination, but I kind of see some similarities there. And I'm not going to outright say, oh, Texas has its own Freddy Krueger, but I think there are some similarities there. And I don't know if that may have added fuel to the Freddy Krueger story, or if there's absolutely no ties there. I do know that a lot of the really gruesome horror stories that came out of the 80s were based off of a serial killer up in Wisconsin named Ed Gein, and that's a whole another story for another time. That the creepiness that was found within that place, and what he did to people. Yeah, I can see how that would inspire horror movies for lifetimes to come. And once again, that's the Summit Elementary School up in Amarillo, Texas. I will continue looking around at different locations within Texas and trying to get more information about them. I'd like to say that I'm going to start off with local legends first, and then start branching out of Texas. I know each state has their own little stories and legends and everything, and I'd like to get a chance to explore most of them. I don't know. Maybe, hopefully, someday me and Natasha will be able to actually go on an investigation and record it and post it up here. The paranormal group that we're with, ASAP, great organization, is very strict on privacy when it comes to clients that we go out and investigate their places. So that's going to take a little bit of working. Definitely making sure the client's okay with us doing it, and making sure ASAP is okay with it. But yeah, I would definitely like to bring you guys out and do an investigation, or heck, we can probably even set up an investigation here. I do have some creepy stuff that goes on here. I know a couple of my nephews have experienced things here. I've experienced things here. My parents, who don't like to say they've experienced stuff here. So I know there's some stuff that's going on here, and maybe we can do an investigation and kind of show y'all how we do it, and our techniques that we use. And I mean, if you want to see us do a video on an actual investigation, or give you an example of our investigation techniques, definitely reach out, leave a comment down below, leave a like, leave a dislike. Let us know what you would like to see more of. You want to see more videos of me talking about Texas legends or other legends throughout the U.S. or throughout the world. If you want to just hear stories that we've experienced over the years, I definitely share some of the stories of stuff that we've experienced over the years. If you would like to know more about techniques that are used during investigations and where ASAP comes from and all that fun stuff, we can dive into that as well. I have no problem talking about anything related to paranormal. I mean, presence from the past, all things paranormal, right? So if you want to talk about the investigation techniques, if you want to see how we debunk videos and show stuff that may possibly explain stuff and why we don't think that's paranormal, or why we do think stuff is paranormal, or if you want us to do reviews of paranormal videos, get an actual perspective from actual paranormal investigators looking at some of these videos that they post up online, and get our opinions on what you think of them. I mean, all this stuff is I'm open to it. I want to make content that you want to see. Okay, so reach out to me. Let me know what you want to see, and let me know what I can do to add to this. And I can do several different types of things. We can also change it up and do different types of videos, different times of week, or even each episode that we put out could be a little bit different. I do know that some of the stuff that we can do on YouTube wouldn't necessarily carry over to the podcast, and I know some stuff on the podcast won't necessarily carry over well on YouTube. But hey, it's all a big learning experience for me, and all I care about is trying to keep you guys entertained and keep y'all happy and keep y'all coming back for more. So if you like this story, you want to hear more stories like this, please hit the subscribe button down below it. Hit the like button, hit the dislike button, anything to just let me know you're out there and watching the videos. Be sure to check out our website, apresencefromthepast.com, and we're also on Facebook, A Presence from the Past, and we're also on Instagram, A Presence from the Past. So check out any of our videos, any of our episodes. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below. Just reach out to me any way, shape, or form you can, and let me know. All right, guys? All right, y'all have a good one. Thanks y'all for checking us out.